This situation has been coming for decades. We've heard the warnings, we've seen the signs, yet we have not changed our behavior, and now it may be too late. The report is out, and not many countries, but the entire world is at risk. Yet no one's really talking about this. I wonder why. Who's at the bottom of making this potentially even worse? Maybe that has something to do with as to why there's not much attention being placed on this issue. Yet we see chronic diseases, men and women having more infertility issues, more infectious disease problems are arising. Yet no one's really talking about this very obvious issue that the United Nations has put out an official report that is. So, you guys, as we all know, the environment is one of the biggest predictors as to how well human life is going to live on this earth, but also survive on this earth. And there are rising issues that warrant immediate attention. Now, I know many of you are going to be thinking about the climate change, and while that is important, there's an even more urgent issue that's arising. And it's so urgent that the United Nations has put out a report this year that is so concerning that we all should be alarmed. And if we don't make immediate changes, we are in such trouble that it may actually not be reversible. This is Dr. T. I'm a certified OBGYN and health coach, and also the founder of HBC. And I know many of you may be like, where's the rest of the panels? And I totally get why you would miss them. They are absolutely amazing. Life is lifing right now, and schedules are scheduling, but they will be back soon as we figure out the logistics of it all. That being said, we thank you so much for joining us on this channel. We thank you for supporting. And if you are new, we welcome you. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and go ahead and click that alert bell so that you will be the first to know when we drop a new episode. Today, we're going to talk about a very serious issue and an issue that we all need to be paying attention to and raising awareness about because it is so urgent.
While 71% of our Earth's surface is covered by water, less than 1% of this is available fresh water.
As you guys know, the environment has direct impact on our well-being and our health and overall survival. And this particular issue is really dire. The United Nations have put out a report that says that we are bankrupt. That's right. There is a global water bankruptcy. And when they say bankruptcy, they mean that we are at the point where we can no longer replace the water that we need fast enough.
These massive sinkholes are a warning sign that we've entered the era of global water bankruptcy.
And when they say bankruptcy, it means that we're using water at a rate that's faster than it's being replaced in our rivers and soil. And this is even more concerning because for many decades, as many of you may be aware, there has been an ongoing water crisis. And that crisis still exists. It's to the point where 75% of the world's population are living in areas that are vulnerable to water shortages. And in fact, 70% of our water supply is used for agriculture. Yet most of the areas where we grow food are vulnerable to water shortages. So this is a very serious issue because there's also additional factors that may make this worse. But the problem is we're not talking about this, and even more so, we're not making any measures or policies that has a global initiative targeting reducing our water usage or in fact, even coming up with innovative ways in which we can balance that deficit better. And there needs to be, because this is in fact a global issue. We need water. There's no doubt about it. And unfortunately, the reason why we need water has to do with how we utilize our current water supply. And if we don't make behavioral changes, we are going to be in dire straits in the most immediate time frame. That's right, the chickens have come home to roost. There are two factors that are making this situation even worse. Let's talk about them. The first issue is forever chemicals. We've talked about is forever chemicals is in just about everything we use, from our beauty products to our hygiene products to our household products to every single aspect of our lives. And unfortunately, forever chemicals have consequences and we can't get rid of them. That's right, PFAS are here to stay. And if we don't make changes, they will continue to wreak havoc on our lives every single day. We are for sure paying the consequences of these man-made chemicals. Now, these man-made chemicals we know are endocrine disruptors. We know that PFAS has been linked to cancers and has been linked to developmental delays in children. Yet we keep looking at other issues and barking up the wrong tree when these obvious issues exist. But unfortunately, companies have power now. They may block this particular episode because I'm in their kitchen today, right? But I want to try my best to get this information out because we need to require our leaders to make policies that protect us and protect our future. So people are spending all this time investing in things that will secure a financial future for their children. And while that is amazing, we have to be conscious about what we're investing in, meaning, are the companies we're investing in responsible ethically? Are they making decisions and contracts that are in fact harming our children so that it doesn't matter what wealth we store up for children, they'll never see it because we are destroying the very earth that they need to live and survive. It doesn't matter if you have a whole bunch of money in the bank if you have no water. It's important for us to bring, again, continued attention to forever chemicals. There was a recent study that was done that showed that there was a much higher level of forever chemicals in our water systems than was previously predicted, and certainly more than is allowed. The other major factor are data centers. And I'm definitely going to spend more time talking about the environmental impact of data centers. But in terms of this particular topic, data centers are one of the most serious issues that need immediate attention. And while folks are so mesmerized by tech companies, they have not been environmentally responsible and the consequences are showing. So what is the link between data centers and our water supply? Well, data centers require water to cool the centers so that they can continue to be operational. And so they tend to rely on fresh water, the same water systems that the public rely on, except they use our fresh water at an astronomical rate. And in fact, some data centers can use the same amount of water as an entire city. They use the fresh water because, one, the fresh water is less likely to cause bacterial growth on the equipment. And two, fresh water also prevents the corrosion of their equipment as well. And so they tend to tap into cities that have a well-established infrastructure and utilize the same water system to supply their data centers. Now, the problem is a lot of these data centers are planting themselves in areas that already have vulnerabilities. And they're targeting a lot of countries in Latin America currently because Latin America have cheaper energy. They have a lot of natural resources because they've made decisions that has preserved their water resources. So here come our industrial nations going into these same countries and now utilizing what those countries have appropriately and responsibly managed. But some of these countries, like Uruguay, is experiencing historical droughts. And recently it was alleged, I guess I have to say alleged, but it was reported that Uruguay has such a water crisis that the government allegedly had been mixing the water supply with wastewater. And as a result, people had started to get sick. Women were noted to have a higher rate of miscarriages. Yet Uruguay made a contract to have a data center. And unfortunately, this is just going to make the situation even more dire. So if we don't stop these data centers or at least make them more environmentally safe, we are going to see a rapid acceleration of our current global water bankruptcy. We're already bankrupt. So how much worse can it get? It can be a more immediate crisis, but there are ways that we can stop this crisis from happening. More responsible laws and policies so that places like data centers are not utilizing our water supply that is barely enough for the population, and also companies that are contaminating our current freshwater supply with forever chemicals. Again, the underlying factor in these accelerating issues is big corporations. Unless we speak up, create laws that make them more responsible, we're going to make an already environmental situation even worse. We can't yet make it rain, though I know there's some conspiracies out there about that. But at last I checked, we cannot make it rain. If we have these tech companies and they are showing signs of rapid development with the development of AI, then we also have the intelligence, the resources to make these changes. We can design new institutions that protect our water supply. We can also create more hydrological limits so that we utilize our water supply wisely. Again, 75% of our world population are living in vulnerable areas of water crisis. And we have many states in the US that have been vulnerable to droughts. So this is a truly a global issue that impacts us all. If we don't hold industrial nations accountable, then the capitalism, the greed, if I can be transparent and frank with you, will impact the countries that have been responsible, as they are now being targeted for this advancement of technology. So that being said, we have to be mindful of the chronic diseases. We have to be mindful, especially of the impact on reproductive health. We cannot secure a future generation if we take away the natural resources that are necessary for them to survive. That being said, this is Dr. T, the hand behind the handle of Healthy Bump Club, right here on YouTube and healthybump.club on Instagram. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope I have raised the sound. I hope I have sounded the alarm, because alarm needs to be sounded, as I think the UN tried to do with the publishing of this report. But that being said, the public needs to know what's in the report, and that's why I brought it forth with you today. So I hopefully this raises enough awareness that we start to hold our public officials accountable in making decisions that truly impact our lives. And while there's lots of attention on climate change, this is probably the most urgent environmental issue we have. So thank you guys for joining today. I hope to see you guys when the next episode. I'm out.
I can't live in my home with half of my home functioning and no water, and I can't drink the water.
Just 400 meters away from Beverly Morris's home in rural Georgia, Meta, Instagram and Facebook's parent company, has built a giant data center. A private well is Beverly's only source of water. But since construction began on the data center, the well water has turned murky.
This is Dr. T. Just a friendly reminder, don't forget to comment, like, and share. And go ahead, why not click that subscribe button. Help us to get to the next 1,000 subscribers. We thank you guys for supporting.